Muted.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Coffee with State, in conversation with our chief guest speaker, Honorable Member of Parliament, Jaipur, Padma Shri, Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore ji. My name is Sulabh Shukla, Joint Secretary, Bitosa, Jaipur, and I will be your host for the evening. Bitosa, Jaipur is an official BIT Mesra alumni body under an umbrella network of Bitosa Global, formed to coordinate the activities of various alumni chapters across globe. With a registered alumni base of 22,000 members and 14 chapters, Bitosa Global is not just committed to benefit the alumni in Rajasthan, but also serve as a bridge to connect minds across globe. BIT Mesra is a part of CK Birla Group, having deep association and commitment to Jaipur. The group includes a significant presence with entities like BIT Jaipur, Birla Auditorium, BISR, CK Birla Hospitals, Rukmani Birla, Birla Temple, and the largest manufacturing industry, NEI, popularly known as NBC. With our continuous effort to impart knowledge with dialogue, Bitosa Jaipur arrives with this extraordinary initiative of Coffee with State with our chief guest speaker, Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore ji. We also have Shri Kauslesh Maheshwari ji, an alumni of BIT Mesra, currently working as President, Sales and Marketing for Mangalam Cements Limited. He is also the founder of Trust Kavitanchal India Foundation, a charitable trust working primarily for prevention of road accidents in India. He is a versatile professional with 33 years of experience across a wide spectrum of industries in India, UAE, and Africa. I request Shri Kauslesh Maheshwari ji to please welcome our chief guest.
Thank you, Sulabh, and very good evening, sir. Namaste, everyone. Yes, this particular greeting nullifies the difference in time zones and complies with the COVID-19 protocol as well. Once again, namaste, everyone. On behalf of the large Bitosa family spread across the globe, it is indeed an honor to welcome India's most complete man, something akin to Beyond the Raymond complete man. India's most complete man, the real-life hero with achievements on several fronts that every Indian can be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming none other than the Honorable Member of Parliament, Padma Shri, Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore ji. I believe that Colonel Rathore actually does not require any introduction. His name itself flashes memories of the time when he made the entire nation proud by winning India's first ever individual silver medal at the Athens Olympics in 2004. In his distinguished shooting career, Colonel Rathore has won more than 25 international medals, including 2 gold championships, 2 golds at the World Shooting Championships, and still continues to hold the Commonwealth Games record that he set in 2002 Manchester Games. He was subsequently decorated with the Arjuna Award in 2003-2004, followed by the highest honor in India for sports, the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award in 2004-2005, and the Padma Shri in 2005. This is simply incredible when you learn that Colonel Rathore took up to professional shooting only in 1998, when he was already 28. Hailing from a family dedicated to the armed forces for generations, Colonel Rathore, after graduating from the NDA, attended the IMA, where he was awarded with the Sword of Honor for the best all-round gentleman cadet. As part of his career in the Indian Army, Colonel Rathore defended our borders during the Kargil War and served in Jammu and Kashmir while participating in counter-terrorist operations. He was therefore awarded the Atif Vishish Seva Medal by the President of India. Soon after his retirement from the army and shooting, Colonel Rathore became a member of the parliament in Lok Sabha elections of 2014 and was made a Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting in the Union Cabinet at a very early stage in his political life. His growing contribution and popularity, coupled with his distinguished career in sports, led to his appointment as Cabinet Minister with independent charge for Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports in 2017. This is where I think he launched the project of his lifetime when he pioneered one of the biggest initiatives for sports in India, the Khelo India Youth Program, to revive the sports culture in India at the grassroots level to bring back the glory of India in the sports arena. Colonel Rathore was re-elected as Member of Parliament from Jaipur in 2019. Through an exemplary and inspiring journey, Colonel Rathore has shown the ammunition to evolve from an athlete to a champion to a statesman over the past 2 decades. It is indeed a privilege for all of us to have such a distinguished personality with us today to share his thoughts and vision on the road ahead for industries and enterprises in the current scenario of COVID-19 and the need for transformation of Indian businesses to be able to resist the adverse social and economic challenges across the globe. May I also request Colonel Rathore to take us through his fascinating journey from an army man to the people's man and inspire our young entrepreneurs with his leadership lessons for life. Without further delay, may I invite Padma Shri Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore, the man himself.
Thank you so much, Shri. You've been very kind in speaking about me. I really don't know if I deserve all the accolades that you've given me. But yes, it's been a blessing. It's been a great journey. God has been very kind. He's given me lots of experiences. I've faltered many times. I've recovered from that, and people have been very nice, very supportive. I found inspiration all around me and spanned careers from military service to sports at the highest level, and also now getting an opportunity to serve the people from an administrative point of view, which is from a political standpoint. I am really grateful to Bitosa for organizing this video conference and for giving me an opportunity to talk to all of you. I really don't know how many people are watching this. Perhaps someone amongst you could give me an idea. But it's absolutely wonderful that we've gotten together and are sharing our views and opinions. So I guess I can start now and speak on the subject, which is the present circumstances, the scenario, and what can be done in business. There's nothing certain. The times are very, very different, very new. There is no PCK. Right? In the army, when you go for a military course, courses have done the same course earlier, and therefore there's something called PCK, previous course knowledge. There is no PCK. There's no previous COVID knowledge here, and therefore every country is finding its own feet and still and continuing to walk ahead. In these challenging circumstances, undoubtedly, it's caused disruptions all across the world. But disruptions, I would say, have been happening earlier as well. So they've been flus earlier, they've been pandemics earlier, there have been other sort of disruptions like internet and various other sort of technological disruptions have been there, which have affected business. Where consumers consume things, where production lines are carried out. It's all been changing over a period of time, and hence this is also another disruption. And therefore, we must take it in stride. Undoubtedly, it's causing a lot of scare right now because there's a bit of suspense involved here. Nobody really knows the outcome. Nobody knows how long this will last. Nobody knows what sort of damage it's already caused in terms of economy, what damage it will cause us eventually. Nobody has calculated that, and therefore there is a sense of fear because of the unknown. However, whatever may have been the problems earlier or now, the solutions are pretty much similar. That we assess the situation, we find out what are the preventive measures, and we take action. In a way, questions of why, what, when, and how why is the situation like this? What can be done about it? What are the possibilities that will emerge out of it? How do I take action to overcome these things? How do I change the way I'm doing business? How do I change the way I'm communicating? When do I do it? When do I change my products? If I have to change any products, when do I change my the way I'm connecting with my consumers? So all of these things, whatever be the problem, the solution is pretty much on the same lines as we found solutions earlier. And therefore, I am of the opinion that India is such a country that has had disruptions all through the ages. And this is not the first time. I mean, even apart from the disruptions which other countries have had, India has always had disruptions from invaders and from various other things. But we found methods of surviving. And therefore, the population that we have as of now, I think that's a major, massive resource with us to sort of overcome the present situation. You see, we are the largest market in the whole world. We are one of the most dynamic populations, being the youngest population in the world. And therefore, a young population is always very, very adaptable. And when an adaptable population is faced with a certain crisis, they will be able to change their methods of working much faster than any of the other countries or any of the other populations. We also have a head start in information technology. Now, undoubtedly, we need to further work on information technology, and we need to really, at this point of time, continue with our fantastic services that we've been providing to the world and make a mark for ourselves even now. And also, from the technology point of view, how can we overcome the crisis? How can we overcome the crisis that the business houses are facing? And what are the solutions there? And therefore, apply the technology to those specific businesses. So, COVID is going to cause a problem. We all know that. We don't know how much. We also don't know how it's going to affect the various businesses, because it will affect the businesses differently. We can for sure say that any of the businesses which involves a large number of people coming together, those businesses are undoubtedly going to suffer the most as of now. Those businesses where there necessarily is a physical connection or proximity is another sort of business that's going to suffer for some time. E-retailers, businesses that have been already moved on to the e-platform, which have cut out the marketing from physical marketing to e-marketing, from physical purchase to an e-purchase. All business will probably still continue without major disruptions. However, the demand is going to go down. You see, at this point of time, when we do not know what's in store, how long is it going to be, the consumer behavior is going to change. And therefore, it could be fear factor, wherein a consumer wants to just hold on and probably spend his money in only the most essential items for survival, rather than go for buying things for his self-esteem or for his love for something. So initially, there's going to be a lot of hesitation in spending, which is going to affect demand. It could also be that the media is continuously talking and from creating a sense of awareness. You never know when it flips the line and goes across to creating fear rather than confidence. So that will also impact consumer behavior. But we are certain that the demand is going to drop down. Now, in typical businesses, there's going to be a commensurate effect which probably will keep increasing. So a retailer he already has an inventory, his money is stuck in the inventory, and therefore the retailer will probably ask for a reduction in supply from the distributor. The distributor will also have an inventory, and then he's going to ask the producer for further deduction in the supply. So the percentage will keep adding. The retailer says, I want 15% less. The distributor might go to the producer and say, I need 25% less. The producer in turn also has his issues of workers coming and working or unable to work. He has his own inventory. He has his suppliers, and he might ask his suppliers to further reduce the supply for fresh production by enhanced margin. So it might go to 35%. The suppliers then have their further suppliers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. And then who's the worst hit is going to be the very small supplier who might just go totally out of business. And this is the reason why Government of India has come in, and the major issue right now is of liquidity. The issue is of the credit lines available. And the Government of India has come and for the MSME sector as well as for the other corporate sectors has extended these services in terms of liquidity, in terms of bank credits. And so therefore, as a business person who's watching this, I think it's very essential that what do you do now? And in what you do, of course, there's a wide spectrum of things that you could do. First and foremost is, are you a survivor or are you going to drown? It's an attitude thing. It's not related to your product. It's not related to anything else. First and foremost, it's related to your attitude. And I have immense belief that Indians have always been survivors, and there is no way that we will be cowed down and we will be defeated at this point of time. We have the largest population. 60% of the products which are manufactured in India can be consumed in India itself. So we really don't have to go out anywhere. And therefore, we are very much self-sufficient. But yes, the point is, all of you have not reached your positions because somebody's given it on a platter to you. All of you have reached your positions because you worked hard, you overcome challenges, there have been limitations, there have been walls put up, obstacles put up in front of you, but yet you managed to reach where you are. And therefore, that attitude, that champion's character needs to come out even now. It's a disruption. Everybody's going to come to start line. That can be an advantage. It must be an advantage to you, because now you have a chance to really, really catch up with others. I was a double trap shooter in the Olympics, and in double trap they would keep changing rules very frequently, and I used to feel good because I was way behind. And every time they would change a rule, I would feel happy that everybody is going to start again because nobody has previous practice on that sort of rule. And so that allowed me to really catch up people much faster. So every challenge is an opportunity. And therefore, you have overcome many, many challenges to reach where you are. And therefore, I firmly believe that this is a fresh challenge. And India, all of you, will really, really survive it and come out. So the first point I made was of attitude. Your attitude has to be that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do this. There are ways and methods, and there will be, if one business shuts down, a new business will open. It has to be. So you have to find your ways and methods. You also have to take care of your suppliers. If you are in a business wherein there is a supply line, then you have to be in communication with everyone. Your company has to be speaking one language. If we are under attack, if we are in the army, we are holding the defensive line, and our troops are distributed over a wide area. One end of the troop does not know really what is happening on the other end of the battalion. And therefore, a good communication with all of them is very critical to make them believe and have the right information. The communication has to be the same. It can't be different voices. It can't be different communication. And therefore, they need to trust what's being spoken, what orders are coming, what the scenario is. when the commander speaks, they have to have trust and faith in him. So as a leader of a business house, when you speak, your communication has to be same. It cannot be different voices. You must give out the realistic information to all your stakeholders, which include your suppliers, which include your workers, which include your customers as well, your bankers, everyone. And communication has to be one. And I was talking about the supply lines, that you have to speak to them, and so that they are aware and they are in picture of everything. And this is your time to also help them out, because if they will not survive, your business will suffer. Everybody is so interconnected. I remember an example when in 2008, when there was the recession worldwide and in America, to the banking committee, I think the Ford CEO was being interviewed. Mr. Alan Mulally was being interviewed, and he actually spoke in support of his competitor, to not allow his competitor, Ford's competitor, to go into bankruptcy. And the reason he gave was that a lot of suppliers are supplying to the different automobile manufacturers. And if one of the automobile manufacturers goes bankrupt, then it's going to have its commensurate effect on the suppliers. And then that is going to have a commensurate effect on the Ford itself. And therefore, we had an example where a competitor was saving the other competitor just because everybody needs to survive. This whole sort of environment feeds on each other. And therefore, everyone is very, very important. We've already realized that. Every person in India, be it at the highest level or very low, at the lower levels, a laborer, a mechanic, an electrician who are working in different states, they are the migrants as of now. Each one is important to keep our economy alive, to sustain our economy. They cannot be done away with. And therefore, everyone has a role to play. So therefore, as a company, you need to be able to communicate. You need to understand what the situation is. You need to support people who've been supporting you. This is the time to probably work out some methods with them so that they can also survive, so that your businesses can survive. This is also a time for you to stay in touch with customers, because your customers have been loyal to you for whatever product, whatever service, and therefore they also need to understand and have sort of what the situation is, and when will you be able to serve them back again? When will you be able to provide them the products again? Also, in case the products need to change, in case your business needs to change, you have to be sharp enough to really be able to see, to be on your toes and to see as to what is happening. How can your business evolve into something different? All that I'm speaking right now is from an example of a military in action. When an army goes into a battle, everything is uncertain, right? And in that uncertainty, there is still a method to madness. And therefore, the method to madness is because there are processes laid down. And once you start following the processes, you're able to make out you're able to understand the chaos, and then you're able to then act accordingly, much more sanely, much more coherently. And so therefore, in a situation where we are, where we really do not know the outcome, the future, it's a lot of uncertainties. Businessmen will have to put processes in place. We'll have to have communications open. We'll have to take all the stakeholders together. We'll have to really, you can take your decisions being owners of the company, but you will have to trust experts. And therefore, in a very cohesive way, you would be able to move ahead and survive this COVID situation, and not just survive, but also thrive and come out tops. This is the time to improve the quality of our products. Whenever I hear some of the other countries talk about, supply lines from China, from Vietnam, from Korea, from other countries, then India's name doesn't pop up so higher in the list as it should. And therefore, it's time, I think, that we also focus on quality of our products. The state governments must look into how we can provide employment to a lot of migrants who move now. I firmly believe that it's the migrants need work closer to their home. There is skilled force, there are unskilled force. Unskilled force right now, there's already been a massive rise in the number of people who are who've registered in Manrega and are getting work through Manrega. But there's a large amount of skilled workforce that has migrated from different places and come to their region, their towns, their local towns. And therefore, businesses must also take into account, if your manufacturing can go closer to the skilled workers, rather than the skilled workers uproot themselves and come all the way. It's going to be a challenge to get the labor back again, the skilled labor back again. Businesses will have to look into taking care of the workforce itself. There may be different parameters of working, but yes. Now, whether the recovery is, we've all been hearing whether it's V-shaped, whether it's U-shaped or L-shaped. The fact of the matter is that we will have to survive, and for survival, we'll have to get our instincts up, our gut feeling, listen to our gut feeling, and work accordingly. I truly believe that India has great opportunity in excelling, taking advantage of this phase and really excelling. The reason, of course, is that we have a dedicated leadership. We have a unified government. We don't have cliques and groups in the government. It's absolutely unified government. Our government has got its ears to the ground. It's listening to the pulse of the people, and therefore the decisions are very, very quick. It's a government that's listening, and therefore it takes actions, decisions based on what's happening on the ground. And so it's your best chance to be able to be heard by the government, and then their policies, their decisions make an impact to what you all are doing. I'll give you an example. I remember I was in the introduction. It was mentioned that I won the 2002 Commonwealth Games gold, and then won the 2006 Commonwealth Games gold in a row, both of them successively. So in 2006, I wasn't in my greatest of form. I was struggling, and I remember I think one day short of my main competition, I felt that I'm going to lose this championship. And at that moment, I don't know what occurred to me, and I suddenly was at peace with myself, because I just told myself that I accept what is. I don't want to fight my bad form. If I'm not in the form, I'm not going to struggle with it. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to just relax. I accept it. Whatever it is, I don't accept defeat, but I accept my form. I accept what is happening. And in that acceptance, I became a calmer person. My mind was much more peaceful. And believe me, because of that, in 2 days, my performance just kept going up. In the championship, I won it. And I wasn't struggling to try and hit as many targets as possible. I said, whatever happens will happen. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with my not the best form. So similarly, you need to accept, whatever we all are doing, but since we're talking about businesses, business persons have to accept that we've had a massive disruption. It's going to change the way you work. It's going to change the business. But what next? The question of so what? So what? You will get the further questions, and then when you keep and answers for it, and for every answer when you say so what, you will get further questions and answers, and you will keep solving this puzzle, and therefore arrive at something that you could do in your business and you could do with your life, and therefore come out of this situation. Like I've been repeatedly saying, I believe in India's youth. I believe in India's leadership. I believe that this is the time for India. The world looks at us, not only because we are India, but also because we have the largest young population, the largest market. Being the largest market, we are able to dictate now, and because of a strong leadership, we are able to dictate now to other countries as to if we are going to buy things from them, then what are our terms and conditions. So therefore, wherever you are, this is the time for our country, this is the time for our nation, this is the time for our youth of the nation to really emerge out in various new opportunities that will come your way, and therefore bring on that instinct that you always had to reach where you are. And if you do bring on that instinct, I am very sure that we all will find solutions, be it the government, be it the corporate sector, be it the workforce. We'll all come together and we'll find a solution to it. Thank you so much. I'll be very glad if I can answer any questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for those valuable words and sharing some wonderful lessons from Army with all of us, sir. This is indeed an enlightening and great experience, sir. We've never been through such. So let us move to our next section, which is Vitosa Think Tank Q&A session. Here comes our first panelist, Sucheta Pal, popular for her electrifying energy. Sucheta gave up being a corporate junkie to pursue her career in the direction of her passion, which is dance and fitness. The Zumba ambassador in India, she is also the recipient of the President's Award for Women's Wellness and has grown into a voice for women empowerment and motherhood. May I request Sucheta to please present her question?
Audio.
Got it. Technology. Thank you, Vitosa team, and a very good evening to all the panelists, and very good evening, sir. I actually had the honor to meet you live in person at the part of the Hum Fit to India Fit social media initiative. Yes, sir. And we had this whole team of athletes and fitness influencers. I remember we were in this room and you encouraged all of us from every genre of fitness, whether it was yoga, whether it was bodybuilding, and someone like me from Zumba. And my question to you today is, of course, related to fitness. Today, as we're talking about business transformation, people are the most important resource. And now more than ever, people are anxious, people are stressed, people are getting unfit with the gyms closed down. Do you think in today's new scenario, not BC before COVID, but now in COVID and after COVID, businesses should invest more in terms of fitness for our people in our businesses? Should we invest in both physical and mental fitness? It's so important. How does the fitness industry and the businesses get in sync together? And my last insight from you, which I would love to get, is how would the government support? Is the government planning something to really emphasize that fitness is the key, especially now for, of course, immunity building? And that is my question to you today evening.
Thank you so much for it's a lovely question, and I know of the work that you've been doing. I'm really proud. You've been a pioneer, Sucheta. You've been a pioneer. You've explored a new dimension to your personality, and you really proceeded ahead. You're an icon yourself. To answer your question, yes, it's in two parts. One is from the government's point of view. The other is from the corporate point of view. Perhaps the third could be from an individual point of view. The government has already realized, and the Prime Minister has been repeatedly speaking of, the importance of fitness and the importance of energy. Let's just say energy. Fitness is we all understand, but let's understand it from the point of view of energy. I mean, the person right behind me is picture the Prime Minister. He works probably more than 18 hours a day. He's literally working. Sure. And traveling between time zones, and not right now, but earlier. But he has an amazing amount of energy. And a person of his age, if he has an energy, therefore it's because of what intake he's doing and what's the output. So in terms of the yoga asanas and everything that he's doing, the fitness that he's doing. And so therefore, for anything to be accomplished, it's important that we are physically and mentally up to the task. And we would be up to the task and more than the task in case we are sort of energized and we are invigorated. Early morning or any of the time, if it's like a disciplined drill that we all go through any sort of physical exercise with varying intensity as per our choice, the whole day we know it goes off very well. And it's even right now in terms of immunity building, we've been regularly speaking about, and Prime Minister has been speaking about Fit India. He's also spoken about Swachh Bharat. He's asking us to wash our hands much earlier than the virus has sort of forced us to wash our hands. But so this is very, very critical. For businesses also, it's important to realize that a fitter workforce will be a more productive workforce. I think the awareness of fitness is increasing many-fold year by year. And therefore, even now, I feel that I perhaps don't feel that gyms are the only place for workout. Online workouts are becoming quite a trend now. And one room is sufficient and very little amount of equipment is actually required when you work out with your own body weight. You can imagine that the entire army works out on just own body weight. It does not do, Indian Army does not do gymming. It works out on their own body weight, right? So yes, workout is very critical. To have knowledge of the right workout that's where people like you come in. Online workouts is becoming a craze. Yoga has caught on the fancy of everyone now, and it's very critical for the inside of the body to become healthier. Breathing exercises relaxes the mind, and so therefore combination of all these exercises to your liking is a necessity. It's a must. I can only implore people that they must work out. But yes, corporates, in case they have a time of 10 to 12 minutes, 15 minutes, they just probably just a little bit of workout, a little bit of dance, a little bit of music. I think it's going to increase the energy of the workforce to work better.
True, and it's a big stress release. Thank you so much for your advice and your insights, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. Our next panelist is Mr. Gautam Sinha. Mr. Gautam is a well-known name in the world of internet business. He's Group CEO, Times Internet, running Times of India, ET, Now Bharat Times, Ghana, MX, ET Money, Dine Out, Grade Up, IDEA, Men's XP, Eric Business, Willow, India Times, and Cureka. It's time to hear Mr. Gautam for his question. Please go ahead, sir.
Hi, very good evening, Colonel Rathore. You have made the country proud so many times. First as a service officer, then as an Olympian, and finally as a leader of the people, as the MP and before that Minister of State. Thank you so much for your contribution towards the country. I wanted to catch on one of the points that you have mentioned. If you look at a policy and then finally try to connect it to execution, I think the intent of any government is to be able to execute successfully whatever it has thought of. And my intent is not to point fingers here at bureaucracy. I think bureaucrats are fundamentally frustrated with the structure that they are in. So are the government with the bureaucrats and the people with the bureaucrats. In your view, what do you think is the reform that can happen in bureaucracy which satisfies all these stakeholders, which is the government, the bureaucrats themselves, and finally the people, to lessen the gap between the policy and execution or the intent of the policy and bring it faster to the country and to the people?
Well, Gautam, good to see you. Thank you so much for your interaction and your question as well. It's a very potent question. Bureaucracy is very critical in a country like ours. I was one of the ones who used to be blaming the bureaucracy. But I think having seen Prime Minister Modi's earlier government, which is from 2014 to 19, and now, I realize that the leadership is important. And therefore, it's the leaders who make a difference and not so much as bureaucracy. Bureaucracy will work as it finds the environment. And who is more passionate, who is more determined, who is visionary. You may have a few bureaucrats who have these attributes, but basically passionate, dedicated to the country, having a vision would obviously be the leader. So it has to be political leadership. When the political leadership does not have a vision, does not have the commitment, then obviously that's going to percolate down to the bureaucrats as well. So I've seen Indian bureaucracy change, work very efficiently in the last couple of years. And therefore, I truly believe that it's the leader that makes a difference. Even in terms of setting up, Gautam Saab, that the Prime Minister's created groups. He's made secretaries responsible, made various secretaries responsible to find a solution. So it's mission oriented. You have to find a solution. No two ways about it. You put all the various secretaries come together. There are various groups, right? So there's competition between the groups as well, right? So you have to come up with a solution. He asked the secretaries to go back to the first posting where they joined as in military parlance as a second lieutenant, right? So you go back to the first posting where the IAS officer joined, go back and see that where you were the district magistrate, see how's the difference. So there comes, he's trying to develop a sense of ownership. I was there, and now can I do something from my agriculture ministry for that district? Can I do something from my IT ministry for that district? He's also put together 15, not 15, but aspirational districts. I think there are 150 aspirational districts have been put together. So again, it's the leadership that counts, and then the bureaucrats are making sure that those very districts that were actually lagging behind are now catching up. So that's my take on your question.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And I do agree that, my very specific question is, in bureaucracy, age becomes one of the qualifications. So you become a cabinet secretary when you are 35, 37 years of age. So there is a question of lateral entry in bureaucracy where you get the experts from various fields, as well as, a dream. Can a 40, 45-year or 50-year-old actually become a cabinet secretary one day in India if that disruption is allowed and the innovation is allowed in the process? So I am not talking about the bureaucrats, I'm talking about the structure more than the bureaucrats themselves. I do agree to you that we have a great set of bureaucrats who want to do and contribute a lot. But bringing the best of talent in terms of administering, regulating all the initiatives, for example, Manrega or even Atmanirbhar, if you try to visualize how long it will take, and you say, oh, probably 20, 25 years before the vision, if you continue to execute, will happen. But if you disrupt somewhere in the middle, can you do it in 10 years is my basic question.
So I'm all for disruption. I'm absolutely, obviously disruptions are well thought out and then executed. In this case, the disruption that we're talking about is bringing in a parallel intake. And we have examples of a few secretaries who are parallel intake. So it's a very small numerically, it's a small experiment, but I think it's a very important experiment. And I think this can have a very far-reaching consequences in times to come. We can have, if this works out well, we could have parallel intakes in a lot of ministries where technical expertise is very critical. And also we bring in a person who's demonstrated his passion outside of the government.
Absolutely. No, thank you for the answer. Absolutely.
Well,
And Bitosa, thank you for the opportunity to ask this question to Colonel Rathore.
Thank you so much, sir.
You know, the
We'll move
country is
further
in
with the
good
next
hands.
question, as we are running a little late. So I'll go with Mr. Amit Chaudhary. He's co-founder of Lenskart. Amit crafted Lenskart with a mantra of creating enthusiastically happy customers. Amit is now working tirelessly to solve the blindless problem of our country. I request Amit to quickly post his question.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar,
Sir,
Amit.
it was great hearing about the problems you mentioned and how businessmen should come forward and solve various problems. I think we at Lenskart are also trying to do that by solving, at least when this happened, we realized that this is a problem which is for long. And the first thing we need to do is survive the company, because if company survives, all the people associated with it, whether it is employees or vendors, everybody survives. And that is what we are trying to do our best, like tirelessly. I think that is the best thing we're doing. And of course, we are growing fitter as an organization while we are doing this. So that's a great thing, what we are learning during this time. I think one grudge I have for the government, and I think how it can help is that like clear guidelines, and communication during this tough times will really help. Like simple things like what was essential, what was not essential, and coming forward, I think we will keep on facing these issues, but concise guidelines which will not create panic and discomfort on the ground. At least that is what we faced over the last 60-70 days. And if we can work around that a lot, because I know it is tough to communicate to 1.3 billion people, but if something can be done around that, overall, I think that will pass on the messages to everyone clearly, and we'll be able to solve this problem together really well. This
All
is
right.
this is
So, Amitji, your point well taken. I'm really happy that your company is putting in its best effort to not just survive, but thrive thereafter once this whole situation is over. And you're taking care of your company, you're taking care of your employees, you'll probably be taking care of your customers as well. And also doing community service, because finally all companies are also, one of the stakeholders, also the community, right? The customers.
Yes.
Right? So I'm sure
Yes,
you're doing that.
yes.
Undoubtedly, it's there's always scope for improvement, right? So there's always that something could be done better, right? Undoubtedly. However, I just want to make a point here that this is literally like a war situation, right? It's like it's battleground, and in battleground, there's obviously a lot of halla balla and cannons firing and bombs exploding and orders being thrown around and everything. So there's chaos, right? And that chaos is also an order, right? So in a certain way. So the government's communication has been to assess the situation, to foresee what their actions will then sort of what impact their actions and orders will have, and then order and execute their actions. Right? And so therefore, if you see the timeline, and I'll try and shorten my answer, so from the moment India was aware about the virus, the very next day borders were sealed. We were amongst the first nation to do that. And thereafter, we've been very, very on the ball and proactive as compared to many other nations. Right? So, but yes, there have been certain things wherein we've been caught unaware, right? Because of our whole size and population, and also because we are a federal structure. So somewhere the orders were a little different, right? Or politically, it was made a little different. But overall, I think we've done a great job, and it will keep getting better from now onwards. But thank you, Abhijit. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Our next panelist is Mr. Subhash Jha. He's CEO of Cement Ventures. Mr. Subhash is a tech advisor and mentor for startups looking to access Western markets. He was also picked by World Economic Forum as a young global leader. Mr. Subhash, can we have your questions quickly? Mr. Subhash, thank you.
Yeah. Good evening, Colonel Rathore. It's a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts in these extraordinary times. I'm joining this webinar from San Ramon, California in the Silicon Valley, and I thank you for being so gracious to stay up late to accommodate our time zone. It appears this crisis has made the world really small in some ways. While the technology was always there, it was not until we were forced to embrace it. Now we realize that the person in the next street is as close to the person in the next country, and even across the world, we are just a click away. So thank you once again for entertaining us with your time and with your thoughts. However, there are still things that only humans can do, and it still needs a human to inspire. And you are such an exemplar of that. Like millions of others, I'm a fan of yours. And while we have never met, I've closely followed your achievements that have been truly inspiring for a whole nation and for the diaspora across the world. So, it's an honor to be here. Now, as a tech investor and mentor, I see today that India's youth, especially the technology-enabled, technology-educated youth, is attracted to building and working in startups, tech-based startups. So there has never been a dearth of tech talent in India, but now we have world's risk capital betting on the ventures in the country and so on. But we're still struggling as a country to create a world-beating, tech products and world-beating tech companies. And I'm not talking about IT services, which is my previous career where I come from. But in order to create world-beating tech companies, apparently just having talent is not enough. I think what you need is the markets who need to reward you with success. And one of the reasons for the challenge that Indian companies have not become world class in terms of tech products is because I have seen that access to advanced global markets is not easy for an Indian entrepreneur. Because here in Silicon Valley, I see various government-supported startup accelerators and incubators. Personally, I've been to the one that Canada has, Switzerland, Singapore, Israel, France, Chile, and Japan. These are just the ones I personally have had an opportunity to look at. But there are many more, I'm told, here in Silicon Valley. And these centers basically serve as a landing ground for entrepreneurs from their countries to come to stay for some time, explore the US market, maybe even explore and look at the US talent. And then from here, you build resources to conquer the world. It's not easy to build everything in your own country to conquer the world. You need to understand what the market really wants. And frankly, there is really no example of a developed country which did not grow by selling to the world. Or just grew by selling to their own citizens. So it is important that we create world-beating companies. So I'm not sure if Indian government has such programs. We are just not aware of it. Or are there any plans to roll out such programs to create the beachheads for Indian entrepreneurs to go and take their tremendous talent, but create products which the world will reward them?
Subhashi, I think you made a very valid point for innovative products to come out. There's more than just talent that is required. You're very, very right. I can say for sure that, yes, in the last couple of years, I have heard various programs being kicked in now. For example, Untitled Innovative Centers. The government is now funding in various colleges and schools so that anyone with a thought of some product which can ease the use of or make things easier for people. So that's one. Plus, startups is also being supported by Government of India now. They have a scheme for it. Also, Subhashi, I make this point that India is one of the third largest buyer of defense equipment in the world. And with such large amounts of funds going out, and we being such a large market, it was only now that Prime Minister Modi sort of leveraged our position as the largest marketer, largest market, leveraged its position by saying that you will have to invest back a certain percentage of money that we are transferring to you, which is very large. I really don't know exactly what, maybe 60%, 65%. I'm really not sure, but there's a large amount of percentage of money to be invested back again, and which requires a technology transfer, sort of per force, and a JV with one of the Indian companies, Indian business houses, so that the equipment can start getting manufactured in the country. Now, why I say that is, like you truly said, when there is talent, for it to be able to really innovate something, it needs to have resources. Right? The resources can come, one, from the country. The other, a larger amount, will come in when a company sees a market. Right? When I know that there's a market, and my product, if I'm able to really come up with this technology or this innovative product, I will have an assured sale, right? That assured sale, at least in the defense sector, is now being given once your initial pilot, innovations are being approved. Therefore, you have a collaboration with an Indian company of your choice, and then you make that product here. So more money needs to go into research. More money needs to go into these innovations. And so this sort of environment is now being created, Subhashi, in India. So yes, it's moving to that direction. The countries that you just named, of course, they've been doing that for many years, and we will soon have to catch up, because India needs to up its value of its products. So, we just can't remain consumers or producers of very small levels of products. We have to go into higher technology products, which are very, very expensive, and therefore there's a large amount of income for the country. But it's happening, and it is very important.
Thank you, and I think thank you, Colonel Rathore. I think if you could use your office and influence to just slide in one more ask from these defense contracts and the guys who are trying to sell to India, that if they could invest not just in India, but in their own countries, to invite Indian entrepreneurs there, and so on. So because some of the battles are really fought outside India and not within India. So that's a
good idea. I would request you, Subhashi, to please send me a short note on this. You will have my email ID, and I'll assure you that I'll have that note of yours reach the right place.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The next is Mr. Arup Juchi. He's Global President and Managing Partner at Frost & Sullivan, based in Silicon Valley. Passionate about the influence of technology in solving human challenges related to education, poverty, clean water, etc. Arup is a sports enthusiast, an avid traveler, and a true visionary whose passion is to mentor and nurture future leaders for Frost & Sullivan. Let's hear from Arup. Arup, please go ahead. We'll take it.
Yes. Hello, Colonel Rajyavardhan. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. I would like to echo what Gautam said earlier, and I had a chance to review your background, your accomplishments, and I must say it was not just impressive, it was very inspiring, and I think even more refreshing. So thank you very much. We're very proud of you. Yeah. So this I'm doing on behalf of Bitosa, Silicon Valley. I'm the local president here in Silicon Valley, and what I wanted to share with you was our experience with technology. And being in the Valley, we see so much innovation happening, and technology has made our lives somewhat better, somewhat complicated. I look at technology both as an enabler, as also as a disruptor. So I have a twofold question for you. Number one, what is the current government doing in leveraging some of these exciting technologies to solve societal challenges? We're going to face a lot now, and when we come out of COVID, the society will look very different. So what are you doing to leverage some of these exciting technologies? And here's the second one, which is more provocative, and that is, when do you think we can make access to internet a fundamental right, as we have seen in countries like Colombia and other emerging countries? So those are my two questions, and please, happy to hear your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoshiji. I hope you're doing well. And we're so proud of all of you who are abroad. You are our ambassadors there, and really wish you all the best through this crisis. To answer both your questions, they're in a way connected to each other. Our Prime Minister is very, very tech savvy, and he believes in technology overcoming a lot of lacunas and gaps that have been existing earlier in the country. If I was to simply say that before 2014, we were sort of living in 3 centuries together. Right? Mumbai had the 21st century, Delhi probably had the 21st century, but you could go down to Bastar, you could go down to some far-flung area in Bengal, and they were perhaps living in the 18th century. Now, one of the foremost things that has brought about parity in the entire country is the simple technology of mobile phones. I come from a rural area. I belong to a rural area as well, but my constituency is also rural Jaipur. And I see that every small village now is connected with mobile phones. Every youth has a mobile phone, and therefore the whole governance is on his palm. And therefore he's able to access everything that is being done. He's able to follow his file. If he puts a file, he's able to track his file. He doesn't really have to come to the office. Right? And so this is a great use of technology. The Prime Minister has also pushed for digitizing the whole country. And the fiber optic cables are now connected to nearly about 2 lakh villages. So which is a quantum jump from what it was about 7-8 years ago. So it's a massive change. Now, the technology brings in the transparency. Technology brings in the efficiency of working, and so therefore today, when we are connecting the farmers to the market, just to give you an example, again the technology is playing a great role there. So today's farmer, because either he himself or his son or his daughter will have a smartphone with them, they are able to see how the weather is going to change in their area. They are not going to see how the weather is going to change in Delhi, Bombay, or the metro cities, like the electronic channels show us. It's going to see how it's going to change in his area, and therefore he can then plan accordingly. He's also going to see the various mandis which are connected to the mobile application. And I know for sure, like in my constituency, when they are unable to sell to the local mandi, they load the trucks and the trucks move to Delhi, still unsure whether it's going to turn towards Chandigarh or it's going to turn towards Bareilly. It's amazing, right? It is empowering a farmer to be on the mobile. Say it's been about 4 hours, they're nearing Delhi, but I'm yet to make a deal, right? So this is how it is improving. I have in my own constituency a farmer producer organization, and I get goosebumps talking about it because it's the way it is changing. And I'm just giving you an example of farmers right now. So the farmers producers organization has brought in 5,000 farmers together. Now these farmers are farmers with a very small farmland, right? But they've all come together. The very fact that they've come together has empowered them. So now there are people who I can get knowledgeable people and say, okay, these are 5,000 people, and now you as a CEO and with about 5-6 guys, you take care of them. So now we are talking about, and I'll give you an example in rupees. If आज यहाँ टमाटर उग रहे हैं हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के अंदर, उन टमाटरों की कीमत किसान को मिलती है 2 रुपए से 4 रुपए प्रति किलो. 2 rupees to 4 rupees he gets per kilo for a kg of tomatoes. But it sells in the market for 20 rupees a kilo. The market is just about 1 hour away. Now we are trying to connect the farmer to the fridge through technology. right? So it's changing. Today, women are basically, it's women farmers, right? And so the women are so aware of everything that is happening. And how are we giving them that knowledge? Is through WhatsApp messages, through mobile phone video conferences and everything. It's just amazing. So at a very small level, technology is already being applied. Another example is when there's hailstorm, right? And the crops get destroyed. Till about a couple of years ago, the survey used to be done for the entire block. Puri tehsil ka survey. A hailstorm passes through a certain area. It doesn't destroy the entire tehsil, right? So people would get very little reimbursement. Now through technology, through the satellites, you are able to mark each farm. And therefore each farm survey can be carried out. So satellite technology and all technologies are being used. Again, like I mentioned in one of the questions earlier, then it all boils down to how passionate is the leadership, right? And so therefore today I am the firm belief that you may be a couple of steps ahead of us there, but we'll catch up.
By the way, we are being supported by many Indian companies. So I think you all are almost on the edge. So thank you very much for your response. I wish you the very best, and we need leaders like you to transform India as a country. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll go with our last question. Our last panelist is Mr. Naren Bakshi. Mr. Bakshi has lived in Silicon Valley for over 54 years, but his tremendous love for Jaipur pulls him back to Pink City for 3-4 months every year. Vajpayee ji is one of the greatest inspirations for the last 20 years. He's also worked with Modi ji, Rajiv ji, and Gehlot ji, especially to promote modern technologies and startups by creating TIE, Rajasthan, and others. He's inspired with the development and improvement happened over the last couple of years in economic verticals based on digital technology. He's also helping various non-profit organizations by closely associating with them as chief mentor. May I invite, please, Mr. Bakshi to have his question?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Bakshi.
Namaskar. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? So, मैं आखिरी आदमी हूँ, लेकिन मेरा काम आसान हो गया, क्योंकि आपको एक याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ कि 20 years ago, 2000 में सिलिकन वैली से एक डेलीगेशन बुलाया था वाजपेयी जी ने. आप जानते हैं, बहुत इंस्पिरेशनल आदमी थे. तो उन्होंने सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा. सवाल ये था कि आप लोग DIT जैसी जगह से इंजीनियर बने, वहां पर पढ़ने गए, मिडिल क्लास के लोग थे, और वहां जाके जब गए आपके पास तो $8 में दिए थे हम लोगों ने. अब वहां जाके आपने बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर की कंपनी कैसे बना दी? आपको यदि आता है तो इंडिया को सिखाओ. That was his question. But that inspired the Thai organization to work harder, to try to do whatever we best could. He asked me personally कि आप तो राजस्थान को गोद ले लो, कोई दूसरा केरला को गोद लेगा. तो मैं 20 साल से राजस्थान में आ रहा हूँ. अब सोचिए, आज की पैनलिस्ट में से 4 लोग सिलिकन वैली के हैं. तो सिलिकन वैली का तो यहाँ से बहुत डीप कनेक्शन हो गया है. देखिए, बेंगलोर को क्या बोलते हैं? सिलिकन वैली ऑफ इंडिया, राइट? तो अब मेरे को बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि मेरे को ज्यादा नहीं पूछना आपसे, क्योंकि देख रहे हैं, आप आंख से देख रहे हैं, आप भी वही भाषा बोल रहे हैं जो कि वाजपेयी जी चाहते थे कि आप लोग बोले. मोदी जी से हमने साथ काम किया. तो लास्ट 20 years में टाई हैज वर्क विद सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स. वी हैव नाउ 22 chapters here. तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. और सबसे आखिरी बात बताऊं, क्योंकि आप जयपुर के हैं, तो दिस ईयर द ग्लोबल चेयरमैन ऑफ ऑल टाई इज फ्रॉम जयपुर. अब इससे बड़ी क्या खुशी की बात हो सकती है मेरे को. तो अब मेरा एक सवाल है आपसे, वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. हमने खुद ने 20 साल में देखा है कि प्रोग्रेस होती जा रही है। अभी रिसेंटली भी देखा कि अपने लैंड रिफॉर्म्स भी हो रहे हैं, हमने रिसेंटली भी देखा कि लेबर रिफॉर्म्स भी हो रहे हैं, प्राइवेटाइजेशन भी बढ़ता ही जा रहा है। तो सिर्फ एक सवाल आपसे करना चाहूंगा मैं, क्योंकि मेरे बहुत सारे मित्र अमेरिका में जो एनआरआईस है और उनके भी दोस्त हमारी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों में है, छोटी कंपनियों में भी है, तो दे वांट टू इन्वेस्ट इन इंडिया। सिर्फ एक डर हो जाता है उनको कि अपना जुडिशियल सिस्टम कैसे होगा, जबकि कोई भी वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिखे किसी पार्टनर के साथ में, इट विल बी एनफोर्सेबल इन रीजनेबल टाइम। अब इसके बारे में जो आप हमको बताएंगे बहुत खुशी होगी।
जी बख्शी साहब, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको धन्यवाद देता हूं। आप क्योंकि आपका इतना पुराना तजुर्बा रहा है, आप उम्र में मुझसे काफी बड़े हैं और मुझसे कहीं ज्यादा आप एक्सपीरियंस्ड हैं। आपने खुद अपना जीवन, जैसे आपने खुद बताया कि कुछ नहीं से बहुत कुछ आपने बनाया, और जब आप अपना जीवन आप बना पाए तो अब आप जयपुर की, भारत की मदद कर रहे हैं। आप जैसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो न केवल यूएस में बल्कि पूरी दुनिया के कोने कोने में रहते हैं। भारत में भी बहुत सारे हमारे लोग ऐसे रहते हैं जिनमें ऐसी काबिलियत है कि वो अपने हुनर से, अपने एक्सपीरियंस से, अपनी कला से भारत की बहुत बड़ी जनसंख्या को के लिए एक अच्छा रास्ता बना सकते हैं, उनको अच्छा रास्ता दिखा सकते हैं। बख्शी साहब, आप दिखाई दे रहे हैं मुझे। तो आपको नमस्कार। मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको? आपकी माफ कीजिए, हाँ आपकी आवाज अभी आई थी। आपका जो प्रश्न है वो यही है कि भारत किस तरह से, जो आपने एक आस रखी है भारत से, जो उस समय के प्रधानमंत्री अटल जी ने एक विश्वास रखा है भारत में, क्या वो उस दिशा में भारत बढ़ रहा है? निस्संदेह बख्शी साहब, उस दिशा में भारत आगे बढ़ रहा है और उसमें बहुत बड़ा एक जो रोल है वो भारत की लीडरशिप, मौजूदा लीडरशिप, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की जो लीडरशिप है और उनका जो विजन है वो बहुत बड़ा उसमें रोल प्ले कर रहा है। मैंने उनको काफी नजदीक से देखा है और एक ट्रूली एक बहुत जबरदस्त एक इंस्पिरेशनल फिगर है। उनकी नॉलेज, उनका विजन, किस तरह से वो एक साधारण व्यक्ति के बारे में सोचते हैं, किस तरह से वो कई कदम आगे सोचते हैं, वो अपने आप में एक बहुत ही प्रेरणा है सबके लिए। हर सेक्टर में बख्शी साहब, हर सेक्टर के अंदर काम इस तरह से हो रहा है कि गांव के अंदर एक गरीब व्यक्ति, एक महिला, एक किसान, उसको मजबूती मिल सके, वो अपने पांव के ऊपर खड़ा हो सके, क्योंकि बहुत लंबे समय से जो उनको सक्षम नहीं बनाया जा रहा था, और आज इस तरह के कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं कि वो गांव के अंदर हर इंसान सक्षम बन सके। बिजनेसेस भी, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी, उसकी व्यवस्था ऐसी हो कि गांव के व्यक्ति को शहर न जाना पड़े, गांव से निकले तो थोड़ी दूर जाकर नेशनल हाईवे के पास में जो फ्रेट कॉरिडोर जा रहा है उसके पास में फैक्ट्री में काम करे और फैक्ट्री में काम करके वापस वो अपने घर चला आए। उसका जो स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग है वो ऊंचा रहेगा, क्योंकि वो अपने परिवार के साथ रह रहा होगा, अपने गांव में रह रहा होगा, उसका स्वास्थ्य बेहतर रहेगा और घर के अंदर भी वो अपना हाथ बटा पाएगा। और साथ साथ क्योंकि आबादी बढ़ती जा रही है और जमीन, जो खेत है वो छोटे होते जा रहे हैं, इसलिए घर के अंदर जितने भी जो मेंबर्स हैं वो कोई दूसरा काम करके वापस घर लौट सके। ये इस तरह का विजन, सरकार का जो पैसा, वो सरकार का पैसा भी सीधे उनके खातों में जा सके, कोई बिचौलिया बीच में ना रहे। उनके जो योजना है, वो योजना जब नीचे पहुंचती है तो कितनी कारगर हो रही है, कितनी इफेक्टिव योजना नीचे पहुंच रही है, इसका भी जायजा पूरी तरह से सरकार के पास पहुंचे, ताकि योजना जो बने वो ऐसी योजना बने जो वाकई में ग्राउंड रियलिटी, जमीनी हकीकत को ध्यान में रखते हुए वो योजना बने। ये इन सभी बातों के ऊपर बहुत तेजी से काम हो रहा है, बहुत ही भरोसे के साथ काम हो रहा है, और इसलिए मुझे विश्वास है कि जब आप अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी जब उस समय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री थे, उनसे मिले थे और जो उन्होंने आपसे आग्रह करा था, आज काफी हद तक प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी डायरेक्ट हमारे जो विदेश में जो भारतीय समुदाय रह रहा है उनसे बातचीत करके उनको प्रोत्साहित करके उनके लिए आसान बनाया जा रहा है, ताकि वो भारत में वापस आकर अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट भी कर सकें और अपने जो हुनर है उससे भारत की मदद कर सकें। भारत का जो कॉर्पोरेट जगत है उससे भी लगातार संपर्क रहता है, ताकि वो और मजबूती से जो प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं वो प्रोडक्ट न केवल भारत में बल्कि पूरे दुनिया के अंदर वो इस्तेमाल हो सके, तो उसमें वैल्यू एडिशन हो सके। हर तरह से नीचे से लेकर ऊपर तक इन सब पे काम चल रहा है। मैं आपको इस बात का भरोसा दिला सकता हूँ। धन्यवाद पक्षी साहब।
Thank you so much, sir. I'm so sorry we took a lot of your time, but people were so excited to meet you. I've got so much overwhelmed response after I tell them that everyone is meeting Sir Rajyavardhan. Sir, it was indeed a great experience, and you took us through an enlightening journey of your thoughts on this subject. I thank you from the bottom of my heart and from all the Bitosa fraternity, sir. I also thank Bitosa think tank team on the questions. And before going further, I would just ask our president, Shri K.K. Podarji, Bitosa Jaipur, and owner KP Automotives Private Limited to please propose vote of thanks to Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore ji.
Thank you, sir, and good evening. Honorable Member of Parliament, Colonel Rajyavardhan Rathore ji, Bitosa Think Tank, fellow BITians, and all attendees. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Bitosa and all BITians, I extend a fervent, zealous vote of thanks to the guest speaker for gracing the webinar with your presence. We are overwhelmed and motivated with the journey of your life and wish you a very bright future ahead. We are also extremely grateful to the Office of MP for its warm extended cooperation in making this event a success. I would also like to thank Bitosa Think Tank team and all attendees across globe who took out time to attend this session and make this event a grand success. In drawing this things to a close, I shall extend heartfelt thanks to Bitosa Jaipur and global team for putting excellent efforts in planning and execution of this event. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.